Welcome back to another Disney Pixar Connection video. What up? We are well into February. We are covering Iron Man 2 today with our Easter eggs. I will be honest, I loved the first Iron Man. I don't so much enjoy the second or the third, but I suffered through it. Yes, I know. Don't hate me. Anyway, obviously I rewatched them so that you guys can get the Easter eggs, because, that's always fun. It's always a fun moment. Anyway, we are going to cover it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. If you have any theories, I did do an Iron Man theory as well, so y'all can check that out. So let's get into the Easter eggs. Now we're at Iron Man 2, and this is when a lot more action happens. Iron Man is still getting the hang of things. He admits that he is Iron Man, but of course, some enemies of him and his father and of the industries, of Stark Industries, is coming to get him. So more and more information is coming out about Howard, but also there's some Easter eggs like Forbes magazine and such. Now, what's really interesting is that Tony Stark decides to put on another World's Fair. Now, there hasn't been a World's Fair in a long time, but he wants to show off Iron Man. He wants to bring back Iron Man the way that Captain America was to the people in the 40s. He really is milking it. So, of course, he's doing this very much in the Captain America style, but with, of course, more money and more expense. And it's of course not necessary, but so goes the Stark Expo at the World's Fair. But after he finds this video done by his father, who is trying to film like an intro to the World's Fair and to the Stark Industries, but then he also talks with Tony as if he's in the future. But I want to make note of this because, again, when I talked about this in the Captain America the First Avenger, when I was talking about how some of this also relates to Walt Disney during the 1940s, this is exactly what Disney did. There is actually a documentary called... It was called Victory Through Air Power. It was released in 1943, and Disney is actually the one who does all of the talking, or for the most part, and just like this, in this position where he's in his office and he's showing things, and then they have like the cartoons of how the planes work and won a lot of the different battles. So it's a really good documentary, not only for the propaganda portion, but also like these are the types of things that were put out during that time. So to see the correlation to Disney and Howard Stark, who again at this time was making similar films, I don't think a lot of people catch on to that, but of course I did. Anyway, we move on, and Tony Stark is called to Congress. He is called to testify. Now, this is important because the person he's testifying against does play a major role in, well, being the bad guy of the film. So here he is. He's testing again to Congress with all of these important people. This is Justin. Justin plays a role because Justin is his competition, but he takes over the villain role. And Tony Stark points it out. He points it out that that's exactly what he's doing. Now, interestingly enough, is that Tony Stark has created different versions of Iron Man, and he's been working on them. This will definitely come in handy in the future, but it is making a note now because in Iron Man 3, this helps to. Of course, there's Easter eggs. Marvel thinks 10 times ahead. Like, seriously, 10 times ahead. But of course, we see they're back now at the mansion, and Tony and Pepper are kind of having at it. She's very much his assistant, but she's in love with him. He's in love with her. They just haven't recognized it. But if you notice, a certain little Black Widow is with them as the secretary. And yes, that is Scarlett Johansson playing Natasha, who is under the role of, I think her name's Natalie or something in this film. But she is being an agent to keep Iron Man under her watchful eye. So while Iron Man is testing out his new suits, he ends up going to Randy's Donuts for, well, donuts. And guess who shows up? Yes, the one and only Nick Fury, as well as our double agent, Natasha. And that is when he learns the truth about Natasha. She is one of, Hawkeye being the first, but together they were the first of the Avengers, and they were the first taken in by Nick Fury to be agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So then they have Phil Coulson, who is supposed to be watching over Iron Man. Again, Phil Coulson comes up in the very first Iron Man. He is trying to keep Iron Man under control. He also then becomes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. director under Nick Fury. So it's Nick Fury, and then Phil Coulson, and that is on the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which should be on Disney Plus soon. But of course, they're fighting the bad guys. Natasha comes out. She's trying to help Iron Man, and then now it is his buddy James Rhodes, who's played by Don Cheadle in this film, fight off all of Justin, who was the bad guy who created the other suits. They fight him, yada yada, whatever, so forth. Anyway, they beat him, of course. But what's interesting is that Nick Fury now wants to create the Avengers Initiative. Now, this is important because eventually we have the Avengers, which should be coming up in the next video I do, is the first Avengers, and that is when they truly come together. But this is Nick Fury's plan. He wanted the Avengers Initiative, and they were trying to get all these different people in because they could work as a team to help stop the bad guys. Now, you also note behind Stark is a map of Africa, and right where it's pointed is what I believe is where Black Panther is. Of course, you know Marvel's 3 steps ahead. Now, this guy is, I forgot who he played, but he looks very similar to the president who was in X-Men, surprisingly enough, who got killed by one of the mutants. I forget which. I'm not sure that's related. It just reminded me of that. And then at the end of credit scene, we have the finding of Thor's hammer. Now, really, Thor should be next. I already posted it. I apologize. And then it'll be Avengers, but I will put this all in order in the playlist so you guys can check that out. But yes, the Thor's hammer was found. Phil Coulson is reporting on it, and we'll see that scene in Thor where this happens. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Lots of different things. You know, the great thing about movie making is that these people, these cast members, and everyone that works on these films puts a little bit of themselves into it. Now, Marvel does it a little bit differently than, say, Pixar and Disney, but there's definitely some fun elements in it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.